Victoria 3. Look at us. Who would have thought we'd be here right now? Not me, I thought this franchise was dead until about a year ago. In fact, look, that's me. Right there. You can see that beautiful face 3 times a week over on Twitch. But yes, Victoria 3 has come back to revive the ancient series after 12 years. And if you overlook a couple of the GUI features, which have burned my eyeballs for over 50 hours, it's actually fairly decent. So for the first ever Victoria 3 video, we're going to be trying out Mexico. Now when you start up the game, you have a couple different options here. We're going to keep everything on pretty much standard. No differences here at all. And hopefully we get to survive more than like 5 years. Now when we were told that a game of Victoria 3 is going to last about as long as a game of Europa Universalis 4, they were not joking. Even though half of the game is spent on Speed 5, the other half of the game is spent sitting there looking at your economy and trying to figure out why you're going bankrupt. Unless you're me, because, you know, I took one macroeconomics course in university, so I'm practically a professor at this point. But the main point is that I am not going to fit this game into a single video. Seeing as Mexico has an achievement to own the entire Great Plains plus the Pacific coast, it's gonna take maybe a little more than 8 hours to get there, which means we might as well get started. So as Mexico, we're gonna go ahead and mobilize our generals here and have them advance the front against Texas. We could let them have independence, but it smells a little bit too much like oil. In terms of research, we have a slight issue in that our economy is very underdeveloped with terrible machinery, so we're gonna try to start off with a few more clothes for our people. You can see they're not really living the best lives here. Grain's expensive, clothes are expensive, wood, furniture, fabric, pretty much everything's more expensive. And we also happen to make a whole lot of money, so I'm gonna go over here and turn off the taxes, so people will become less radical, hopefully. And the first order of business will be expanding the gold mines, and don't worry about inflation because we actually haven't invented that yet. So even if a quarter of our income is straight from minting, there are absolutely zero consequences. Yeah, we also don't produce any guns whatsoever, so we're gonna have to ask America for a couple. I'm sure they have plenty. Now the battle system in Victoria 3 is really nothing more than a dice roll. That's practically nothing you can do to influence it at all, but hey, I mean, we're winning. It's pretty much just who has the better army and who has more men, and that's kind of it. That's okay because Texas is a pushover and the US is not going to do anything about it. Alright, looks good to me. Texas wants peace and I'm willing to oblige. If we play the cards just right, then Texas will never try to secede again. Now that that's checked off the agenda, I'm hearing that monarchies are hip and cool with the kids these days. And by kids, I mean not the intelligentsia. But that's okay because their opinion is irrelevant. Now the scheming boys over here who think they're so smart are gonna try and start a revolution. However, because the radicalism is only 64, they're not actually gonna go all the way with it. So even though they're posturing quite a bit, as long as we keep the radicalism low by decreasing those taxes and increasing the loyalists, they're never going to get enough support. Now we figured out how to make cooler and better clothing, so we're gonna do that real quick to make sure people don't have to spend so much. And now that we have more wood, I can build a tooling workshop, so I can make tools to produce more wood so we can produce more tools and then have extra tools to do cool things with. And if you're wondering, this is 99% of the gameplay loop. If you've ever played Factorio, it's very similar, except instead of using machines, you're actually just exploiting the labor of your peasants. Next thing to upgrade would be construction. Building wooden buildings is very 18th century, so of course we can't do that anymore. Also, that iron is going to get us a little bit more tools. Now the economy looks like it's in a rough shape, but I can assure you in reality it's actually so much worse. You see, by creating all of these iron mines, what I've done is I've created a reliance of big iron on the government buying that iron to produce more iron. So if we ever stop producing buildings, this is going to go out of business really quickly. And I can't exactly afford to keep building stuff. So it looks like I'm going to have to maybe, you know, increase taxes a little bit. I'm sure they won't mind. Hey, we've finally enacted monarchy. Okay, now I don't care about the radicals. Time to put on that taxation. Now that we have an empire, we no longer need the armed forces. We used to be a junta, which means this guy led the country, but now we don't really need them, so we're gonna kick these guys out, bring the Catholic Church in, and hopefully we can get religious schools. That'll kickstart a bit of education so our people can no longer be illiterate. Now, to support these schools, we're going to need a little bit better bureaucracy. Thankfully, we have a lot of government administration, but for that to be useful, we're probably going to need more paper, and we don't make literally any. So first order of business, let's get some paper going. And we have our first heir, Tomas de Cos. I have never seen a baby look so much like a 40-year-old before, but okay. Alrighty, we have paper. Let's go and use that. Okay, we might need a little bit more paper. Yay, education. Finally, we can get some coal power going. First, we're gonna use the coal to produce more coal, and then we're gonna use that coal to produce more gold. Oh boy, boy, that's a slight issue. Seems the locals aren't too fond of our encroachments, so they've started a diplomatic play to take a whole lot of our land. Well, it doesn't really matter because, they have nothing to fight with. This should be a walk in the park. Alright, now that we have empiricism, we can boost our institution a little bit, get that second level of education going. Now that we have coal, it's also time to start making some railways. Ah boy, here we go again. Yoink. Alright, well that's everything. I guess we don't really have a need for a colonial institution anymore, do we? Or maybe we do. The Congo is rubber and I'm going to need that, thanks. Unless I can grow rubber. I don't know, maybe. Well, this certainly is a very interesting timeline. But hey look, number go up. Number 12 in the world for GDP. That's about doubled in the past 12 years, so nice. Now, we don't actually have the steel necessary to build engines, so I'm gonna have to import some real quick. In all honesty, it's probably a much better idea to not do this, but we do kind of need railways, so. Now, another fun fact about gold is that we have these things called gold fields, which are naturally spawning, you don't have to worry about them, and people are just gonna go there to try to get rich. Well, once they run out, you can actually start building gold mines, which are a whole lot more efficient once you start to use the modifiers. Okay, now we actually have steel being made. It means I can stop importing it, and we can get these guys to start working on steel tools to produce more tools that we can go and click this button over here to produce more coal, and then that coal will make it cheaper for us to make more steel. Now Costa Rica wants a defensive pact. I don't know, man. I'll probably either end up conquering or puppeting everything down here. But a defensive pact? Nah, that's fine, thanks. Not to be rude, but I don't think that pact is gonna help me very much. Now look again. Boom. 12.9 million GDP. Canada formed too, that's interesting. That flag's looking a little weird, but okay. One last thing I'm going to do before I kick the Catholic Church out of the government is set up some charity hospitals. Things tend to be a little bit better when people die less. And generally speaking, the better laws you have, then the better everything. Also, America's trying to fight me, okay. I'm gonna ask Russia if they could help us a little bit, thank you very much. Also, you're gonna revoke your claim on California, please. Now, we're gonna have to mobilize all the generals and activate all conscripts. This is gonna be a whole lot of fun. Now, if there's one good thing about the United States, it's that they almost never have an actually decent invading army. It seems Russia has no qualms about just going straight through that territory. Alright, if Russia wants to fight, that's not my problem. They can go ahead and do that. But I'm just gonna sit here and wait for the American war support to drop down, and then after that we can start negotiating. Now, interestingly enough, I think the Americans just changed a bunch of stuff. Now they have 383 regular battalions, but their army power projection is 34. In comparison, mine is 49, so I'm not exactly sure what they did there. Well, we can't push into the United States, so we can't get any of our things here, but I guess we can go for a white piece, sure. Congratulations, that was pointless. But it did provide a pretty important lesson. Don't rely on imports. Yeah, we couldn't get enough artillery or small arms. Probably a good time to just make that myself. The first of the arms industries has been created, so now I don't have to worry about that. Although we are going to need hardwood, that's a slight problem. Okay, how about we just start producing some? I wonder, am I going to see a unified Germany for the first time? Not joking, I have never seen the North German Confederation, nor an entire Germany, and I've played like 3 games. You know, usually Prussia just kind of falls into infinite revolts, so hopefully we don't see that. It looks like Nevada could actually be a great place for some gold. I'm probably gonna have to build some railways there first because the infrastructure is absolutely terrible. We are using 6 times the allotted infrastructure, kind of a problem. We can have a little bit more like this, not much, but at least it's something. And then with the railways, we'll be able to make more money. Okay, where's all my hardwood going? The furniture manufactories, yeah, that would make sense. It does make me a lot of money though. Oh, also the Americans have embargoed me, so screw those guys, I'm gonna embargo them back. I don't even know why they embargoed me, that's dumb. Still can't believe that there's so much gold in this place that 2/3 of my economy is off of minting. Russia wants us to join their customs union, that's kind of a problem for me. Kind of need them to protect me next time too. Okay, we'll solve this issue later. We'll leave it in 10 years anyway. For now, we do get access to their weaponry though. There we are, finally. Charity hospitals. Now, we don't really need the Catholic Church and the government anymore, unless our legitimacy is starting to plummet a little. So we're gonna kick them out. And we're going to bring in the industrialists. Now, first thing we're going to do is change the tax laws. The one we had before is only really basing having land, and we don't have that many peasants anymore. Okay, well, we do have a lot of peasants, but they don't make as much money. Okay, now here's the plan. Seeing as running your economy off of gold doesn't seem to be an issue at all, I'm gonna try and use that to my advantage. First, I went ahead and built a bunch of construction. It's gonna spend a lot of money doing that, but that's okay. Next, I'm gonna build lots of railways, lots of motor industries, and then we'll have more infrastructure in places that we can use to build more gold mines. And then we make all that money back with the gold to pay for more construction that we use on actually useful stuff. Also, we should probably decrease government wages. It's a whole lot of the economy right now. Ah boy, here we go again. I feel like this is going to be a recurring theme. Well, the more worried the initiator is, the more likely they're going to back down. And if they do, I get free war reps. But if I add stuff, they're probably less likely to back down, which means I'm not going to get anything. Since of course we still can't beat the American army. And they've backed down, beautiful. That means that we actually do get American war reps. Free money. The best kind. Cool, that means I don't have to tax people anymore since I'm just taxing the Americans. We'll build gold mines and we'll make the Americans pay for them. Alright, the munitions factories can now actually be useful for something. Now that we're not under the threat of war, I can go ahead and change my army. Now we're finally modernized, and if we need to, we can probably fend off the United States by ourselves. Sorry, what? Sokoto wants a defensive pact. Yeah, I don't think so. Finally, if you remember back to when I first tried to pass this law, it's been a lot of failures since then. But now we should be able to make more through taxes if I need to. Now for the next law, I'm thinking autocracy. The king's been doing such a good job, look how powerful we are, we might as well give him a little bit more power. Sorry, what? Belgium refused to become the protectorate of the United States. Yeah, I mean, I would too, that's kind of weird. All the way across? Really? Okay. Beautiful. Now we should see that the industrialists should lose some power and the landowners should gain some power. Something like that. Anyways, we're gonna kick out the industrialists now. I'm probably gonna bring in the intelligentsia very briefly. Yeah, they're not gonna like that. Well, that's too bad, because we're gonna need public schools. But to do that, I would have to get rid of the state religion. Okay, fine. Oh, hello there. That is a massive confederacy. Somehow without Florida, but okay. That's kinda weird. I don't know why New York would be joining this. I mean, Statue of Liberty and all that, but anyway. Also, when the industrialists, intelligentsia, and trade unions hold the most power, but they decide to join the side that still allows slavery, and this side also still allows slavery. I don't even know, man. I don't know what this is anymore. Wait, what's the problem? I don't get it. There's no difference between the policies. They're the same. So, from what I can tell, the Confederate States have given women a few rights, as well as enacted censorship and the National Guard. And that's it. The real question is, who do we support here? It seems pretty clear to me that the regular USA is probably going to lose. Yeah. So the right answer is the side that wins. Depending on how I play this, I could probably help the US against the Confederates, but dude, they just took all of the industry and all the agriculture. What are you even left with? What are you making money off of? Subsistence farming, some agriculture, and that's it. Yeah, good luck. I'm gonna support the Confederates then. But in the meantime, I do have a couple of claims of my own to be making. The perfect time while the US is distracted. Now, we could do this the easy way, or we could do this the hard way. No one's backing you. Much easier to just become a puppet, my dude. It's not worth it. That's what I thought. Cool, they're green now. And they also pay me 1,000 a week. So it looks like the American Civil War is just not going to happen. The US backed down as they saw the Confederates were way stronger than them. And that kind of leaves us in a weird position, because if the Confederate States stick around for a while, we can't actually make any diplomatic plays against them. Which, if you consider the fact that they're now quote-unquote independent, is kind of dumb. So now the Confederates for some reason have diplomatic immunity. A diplomatic immunity which just barely doesn't infringe upon the achievement. So now we just have a weak America, and that is totally fine with me. Are we really doing this? Alright, if you say so. Yeah, I'm not sure what you expected. Wait a second. Infamy decays at 5 per year? Bruh. Making someone into a puppet is like 7. Well, I guess here I go killing again. Except, we now have another revolution inside the country I'm trying to fight. Okay. Right, let's do the puppeting. And now what? What do we do? I don't know what to do. We can probably just help our subject. Honduras wants independence. Oh, that's funny. Okay, I think I've maxed out my gold mines for now. I'm going to need a little bit more explosive stuff for that. Now it's just under 2/3 coming from minting, and the vast majority of that minting is coming from the gold mines. And I'm still making a few. Also, for some reason, as the overlord, I can only support my subject in the first phase here, which is kind of dumb. In other words, my subject's dead. Instead, we'll go after these guys. Alright, for some reason they didn't back down. I'm assuming that's New Granada's fault. These guys seem to love violence, but never actually end up helping out. In other words, yeah, easy dub. Also, for some reason, Revolutionary Honduras took the capital, won the war, and is now taking on the diplomatic obligations of my previous subject. Weird stuff, but like, okay. It's basically a free war. Okay, freedom of conscience. Now, we still need to get ourselves better schooling, because the religious schools, they're okay and stuff, but the real thing I'm looking at is assimilation. Over the past several years, most of the radicalization was due to discrimination. Not entirely sure why that's decreased, considering we haven't actually changed anything, but okay. Anyway, main point is, educate people more, plus more assimilation. Okay, well that was pretty easy. Now here we go again. Is this entire event just a pun? You know the screaming in the background? It's probably the game, not my basement. Yeah, sure, they should have not died in vain. I hate this. Okay, Honduras said no, so I guess they're just gonna have to die then. That was a really easy decision. Ooh, you might want to look away from that. Ooh, that's pretty gory. Easy. Now, seeing as infamy decays at the drop of a hat, I don't see why we can't just keep doing this. And apparently that's because we're too friendly. We'll have to fix that first. Now, as for America, it seems these guys are a little bit, you know, out of the game, so to speak. They probably can't get weapons or anything, so invading them should be rather easy. In fact, I could puppet them and then try to annex them. 89 infamy. Okay. Alright, maybe not. Maybe we won't do that. Let's start with Kansas, and then I'll throw on the rest of Oklahoma and the rest of Utah. Let's go with, I don't know, Colorado, sure. You know what? Yeah, just transfer these guys too, why not? It's not that much extra infamy. So is anyone going to support them? I don't think so. And nope, alright. Let's see if they back down, and they do, thank you. Well, unfortunately, that's only going to give us Kansas, but I'll take it, whatever. We'll come back for more later. Alright, well, we've had our fun, Russia, but we're gonna have to break away from this customs union. It was great while it lasted, but I think it's time to go our separate ways. Now we have a slight problem. Didn't realize just how much we were using the Russian market for stuff. Okay, we have a couple things to be fixing. That seems pretty bad, doesn't it? Yeah, it's pretty bad. Well, the GDP is bouncing back. We're starting to fix things. For a second I was worried about losing my number 8 spot, and then I realized that the British are having a proletariat revolt. Fascinating. And it's a constitutional empire. Ah yes, the king of the proletariats. I really don't get it, but okay. And ooh, Austria just took a chunk out of Bavaria, so I don't know if we'll be seeing Germany. If anything, we might see the big Germany form. That would be kind of cool. Wait a minute, why do they get to be a constitutional empire? But I, an actual empire, don't get to be an empire? Anyway, the economy is now being fixed. Might have to import a little bit more fabric or get someone to work on the fields, maybe. You know what? You have population. Here. Make some plantations. Nice. Public schools. Now you might be thinking, hey, that's a lot of money you're making. Number 8 worldwide, and most of it is still off of gold. But can we live off of gold forever? No, probably not. So using our newly built power plants, we're gonna go ahead and start our second industrial revolution. You'll see if I turn on electric sawmills here, we're going to be able to produce almost double the wood. It'll be a little expensive, but we can fix that. Now, because I can produce so much wood, I'm gonna start easing off a little bit on the imports from Russia, which will leave more convoys available to export stuff that I'm not using, like fertilizer. Well, infamy is looking fine, so let's continue the imperial grind set, starting with Nicaragua. Oh boy, alright, what's your issue? The conscript should be good enough. And they have Austria. Okay. I don't suppose Austria's gonna send people over, are they? I hope not. Maybe a few. Yeah. Well, if I back down, then I have to pay war reps, so it's probably better to just fight to a stalemate. Although apparently we don't need to have a stalemate, seeing how I'm just walking through this army. Yeah, don't ask questions about how combat works, I only have the slightest idea. They have 85 defense, I have 54 offense, but we're crushing them. Well, that didn't turn out to be that much of a problem. What's with puppets demanding independence, bruh? Been like 10 seconds, chill. Now this time from America, I think I could either take this little panhandle here that really shouldn't exist in the first place, or I could take Colorado because they have some more gold. That seems like a good idea. I'm gonna work off of the assumption that the US is going to do pretty much nothing every time I try to attack them. So that being said, I can basically ask for one thing, and then ask for an entirely different thing that's not really going to require me to spend infamy, and then they'll probably cave to the first thing. Exactly as planned. Alright, thank you very much. I'll make good use of those gold mines. And last but not least for now, Costa Rica. Seeing as we have better offense and defense, we should be able to crush them. And I still have no idea how we decide how many people are going into this battle, so, okay. From what I can tell, it's literally just RNG. Also, no idea when this happened, but the flag changed for some reason. Now we have a little crown on the little eagle here, so that's cool. Might have been new patch stuff, I don't know. Okay, now we can easily crush them. New artillery, added some opium to the army, medical stuff. So now they fight a lot better. Alright, new Granada left, which means it's an easy war from here on out. Costa Rica doesn't actually have an army, so it's free real estate. With all of Central America under our control, we're making an additional 7,000 pounds a month, which is really just a drop in the bucket compared to how much gold and income taxes I'm making. Ideally, these guys will also go ahead and develop the rubber plantations if I create a need for it. You can't build in subjects, which kind of sucks, but so long as we create a demand, hopefully they'll try and fulfill it. Of course, we do have our own rubber, but like, why bother, right? We don't exactly have much of a population to use it. Now, I think this would be a pretty decent place to stop for today. Our GDP has skyrocketed, surpassing both the Confederate States as well as Russia, but if we plan to surpass even Qing, then we're probably going to need a little bit more time. We're 40 years into the game, and we still have the rest of the Great Plains and the Pacific Coast to be taking. Fortunately, that's 6 states in the Pacific Coast, and around 7 or 8 in the Great Plains, so that really shouldn't be so bad. But I hope you'll join me next time as we continue to manifest Mexico, and until then, this is Quarbit signing off, and as always, have a fantastic day. Big thanks to the patrons this month. All of these people get early access to videos. So if you want early access to videos, all you have to do is check down in the description and subscribe to the Patreon for at least $1. And if you're looking for something else to watch, I'd recommend these videos up on screen.